In a modern relationship, does an independent woman still expect her man to provide? That's the question we're trying to answer. And we want to be methodical about it. We want to think about all aspects of this, because the truth is that there might not be a one size fits all answer, but at least we can agree on certain general terms. We can agree on what it means to be independent. We can agree on what it means to be in a relationship. And we can agree on what an independent woman ought to expect. What would compromise her independence? What would enhance her independence? We can agree on some of those things. So we'll try and do that together in our conversation. And I'm so excited. Our brother Okyeame Kwame is here. Okay,
Nana,
good to have you.
Good to have you.
Excellent, Charlie.
Good to
And
be here.
it's not just Okyeame Kwame. We also have a regular panelist on one of our big hit shows on Joy FM. I'm talking about Strong and Sassy. Esinam Batali joins us. Do we have Esinam on the line?
Hi,
Hey,
everyone.
how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you for making the time. We always appreciate it when we're able to wake a night owl up in the morning. So thanks for that. All right, so we're getting into this in just a moment. But first, Verna Water is proudly made in Ghana by Twellium Industrial Company Limited, and it's purified using a series of filtration reverse osmosis, UV sterilization, and ozonation to meet high standards of quality and safety. Verna, which is ISO certified, is also awarded the Water of the Year at the Ghana Beverage Awards 2021, Product of the Year and Water Producing Company of the Year at the Ghana Manufacturing Awards 2019 and 21 respectively. As part of their Changing Lives program, Verna Water has, through the Ghana Medical Association, donated an incubator to the West Municipal Hospital, Amasaman. You can buy yourself a bottle of Verna. They come in 330 milliliter, 500 milliliter, 750 milliliter, and 1.5 liter bottles, as well as the 1.5 liter jar. For bulk purchase, just call 0249 71 7777. This advert is FDA approved.
Now, every time we eat, food and sugars are trapped between our teeth, leading to tooth decay, gum disease, and in some cases, foul breath. Brushing your teeth every morning and night with Pepsodent Cavity Fighter gives your teeth the protection they need, leaving you with 10 times stronger teeth. Pepsodent Cavity Fighter is fortified with pro-fluoride and micro-calcium ingredients, sealing tiny and invisible holes in your teeth. This prevents cavities, keeps your teeth strong and mouth healthy. Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, maximum cavity protection, 10 times stronger teeth. Now, 25 years educating to brush day and night. Pepsodent is recommended by the Ghana Dental Association, and there are two other highly effective variants of Pepsodent on the market. Pepsodent Charcoal, which is made with a fine blend of activated charcoal and lemon essence. Pepsodent Charcoal White gently polishes away tooth stains and naturally restores your bright smile. And Pepsodent Herbal, for herbal lovers, try Pepsodent Herbal toothpaste formulated from carefully selected natural extracts and uniquely blended herbs. Pepsodent Herbal releases, repairs, and protects gum tissue while giving you strong teeth. You can get Pepsodent at any shop near you. Call our customer care center on toll-free 0800 2030. Always remember to brush your teeth in the morning and before you sleep at night. Pepsodent, every smile matters.
All right, so in a modern relationship, does an independent woman still expect her man to provide? And we're looking at this from all angles. Our guest, Esinam Batali, is a digital marketer. She's also a regular on Strong and Sassy. She joins us by phone. And here in the studio, we have songwriter, musician, author, and Made in Ghana ambassador, a husband, but more importantly, proud dad of two, Okyeame Kwame. Okay.
An independent man.
Yes, and a feminist.
No. I'm a feminist, but I'm not an independent.
All right. Okay, so maybe that's where we should begin. Okay, I feel like these conversations are learning opportunities for us, especially men, because I think very often we tend to be behind the curve when it comes to things like this. So let's start from that point. First, let's try and figure out what exactly an independent woman is. And I think we should have women teach us what an independent woman is. Esinam, would you mind?
Okay, so when you say someone is independent, I believe independence is a mindset.
Hmm.
The decision to take care of their own needs, um, feed themselves, clothe themselves, basically do everything for themselves without any other person contributing to their life. So they're independently taking their decisions concerning their life. They make their own choices based on what they want to do and certain plans they have, and they execute. For me, I will call myself an independent person. I've been independent from, I think, after high school. Um, I went to university and I became independent. Independent in the sense that I was taking care of myself. I was clothing myself, I was feeding myself. I was basically providing my own needs for myself, but also independence in mind because I could take decisions for myself concerning my relationship, my love life, my social life, my boundaries, my career, things that I wanted to do. I was able to take those decisions by myself, obviously with advice or two from family members who would chip in. But essentially, an independent woman is the one who's able to take charge of her life and take control of her life.
All right, and it sounds like you mean all aspects of her life, so economic as well
Yeah,
as emotional,
yeah,
physical, and so forth. Okay,
yeah.
all right, that's useful, and I think it's a good point to start. So, with that in mind, does an independent woman need her man to be a provider or need her man to provide economically?
Okay. So one thing that I've been seeing so much on TikTok has been people calling out on feminine energy and masculine energy. And if a man is able to thrive in his masculinity, a woman will be okay living in her femininity. I don't agree with that. I don't agree that someone is supposed to take care of another person, or like it's an entitlement thing, or someone has the right to collect money from another person because they are in a relationship. I don't think it's a given. I don't think it's a right. However, I think that if you care for someone and you are interested in the person's wellness, you will do anything to make sure that they are okay. So while it may not be an entitlement, if you realize that your independent girlfriend who has not been asking you for money for hair or asking you for money for wigs, makeup, is now asking you for something that's important to her, no matter what it is, you find a way to support the person. I believe in taking care of your partner and being in a mutually loving and respectful relationship where you can exchange gifts without the sense of entitlement and feeling like you deserve something because you're a woman, and then you also need to give something because you're a man. I believe that a fundamental mentality is flawed, and I think that if we want to be be independent. If you find a partner that loves you, that wants to take care of you, they can support you financially. That is not a responsibility for a boyfriend to do. It's something you can demand from your partner just because you are in a relationship with them. However,
What about
if
a
you are also
husband?
with a girl and you realize that the girl is not financially sound, she has an independent mind. She knows that she needs to take care of herself and work for herself, but she doesn't have enough by way of finances. And in Ghana, the poverty rate is very, very high. A lot of people are poor. Let's be honest. So if you meet a girl that you know that you can financially assist or support, nothing stops you from doing that. But it's not an entitled benefit.
Would such a woman who cannot, provide for herself economically, would she also be defined as an independent woman?
And if she depends on herself, you know, to feed, not her family or not even her boyfriend. She's not dependent on the boyfriend. However, the boyfriend out of kindness is supporting, then we can call her an independent person.
Right. Okay, so she's feeding herself.
Yes.
That makes her economically independent.
She's taking care of her own basic needs.
Her own basic needs. Okay, that's helpful. All right. You know what? I think we're moving along quite swiftly through, the definition of terms, if you like. Now, I think we should perhaps also make a distinction between gifts and responsibilities, because I think you alluded to both of them. So we want to understand what effect responsibilities should have on an independent woman, not gifts. Because as for gifts, I mean, even Bill Gates, who I'm sure we can all agree is financially independent, even he receives gifts. So we're not talking about gifts here. We're talking about responsibilities. Should an independent woman expect her man to pay her bills, pay her rent, her bills, for fuel her car, any of those things which a man who believes that he's a provider would expect to do?
Are we talking about this in marriage or in just a mere relationship?
I won't restrict you. So if you want to refer to both, feel free.
Okay. So when it comes to marriage, the dynamics are a little different. Because once you decide to get married to someone, you are financially responsible for each other. That means that as much as I'm contributing, my man is also contributing. And we're using that fund to take care of each other.
So independence ends at marriage, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So for me, I think that if you are in a relationship, no one is supposed to be responsible for providing, quote unquote, because that's a fatherly responsibility. And your father, that's a father or a husband responsibility in a way. And I wouldn't want to put myself in a position where I'm overly dependent on someone else. That way I lose my independence. If I start depending on my man for feeding, for clothing, for whatever it is, and they are not gifts, they are not things that the person is doing to show their love for me, but it's a demand I have to make, I am no longer independent. We can say that the person loses the independence at that point.
Right. Okay. Esinam, thank you for this. I'm sure there are some reactions from the studio. Okyeame, Kwame, you are married.
Yes.
So you will have your own experiences you can tap into, but you also are a feminist,
Yes.
as you've told us. So let's be clear here. Can a woman, an independent woman, continue to call herself so if a man takes up the payment of her bills?
Completely. If the woman has not asked or subscribed to the socio-cultural concept that the man must be her provider, in that case, it's just gifts that he is giving. But
even if it's a monthly payment
of course,
her bills,
yes,
every month is a gift.
Exactly. But if she subscribes to the concept that my husband must take care of me, she must give me chop money, and she must put fuel in my car, and whenever the car is spoiled, my husband must stop whatever he's doing to be the one to call the fitter to come, because me, I'm just sitting in the car quietly pretending I don't know the fitter's number, and I need call Kwame. Catch a fitter, I told you we need to change this fitter, but you just keep bringing him into the picture, call him to come.
This sounds like it's based on a true story.
So in that case,
it's a general phenomenon.
Exactly. In that case, she cannot say she's an independent woman. But if she's able to call her fitter herself, and the fitter comes and she goes to work, she's doing whatever she's supposed to do, she's making $8,000 a month, she comes home, she's paying school fees whilst the husband is also building the house, then she's an independent woman. But I think that we need to bring the conversation down properly. I think we should talk about economic independence. we should talk about social independence and talk about psychological independence, because the concept of marriage, in quotes and quotes, is a prison and is based on codependency. So there's no such thing as independence in a marriage fully. So there could be economic independence in the marriage. But if I'm angry because my wife did not give me sex and I'm committed to a monogamous relationship, therefore I'm not getting sex that night and I'm angry, I am dependent on her providing for that pleasure. So I am not an independent man psychologically in that moment. So we need to separate three: psychological independence, economic independence, and social independence.
But I wonder if you noticed that when Esinam defined independence, she didn't separate them. In fact, she started with economic independence. She stated that in order for a woman to call herself independent, she ought to be able to provide for her basic needs. Okay, so she starts with economic independence, and maybe in our conversation that might be the type of independence that is most relevant, because then the fact that you are entering a relationship with someone, that precludes any concept of psychological or emotional independence, because if you were independent you wouldn't need another person, to be in your life. So those aspects of independence, I think we know that once you're in a relationship, that doesn't apply. But economic independence is the one that comes up for debate. So if a woman can pay her own bills and you, a man, come along, should she expect you to take over any of the things that she has been doing for herself independently?
You see, we are going back to social independence. So all of us are growing up through a cultural concept called programming or socialization. And I have been socialized that even if my wife is a trillionaire, I must give her food, take care of the children, be the one to provide for the accommodation. So for me, that type of service is attached to my ego. If a woman is doing it for me, I would be offended. In the same way, most women are programmed through parenting to understand that a woman must take care of you. Let's take it home a man must take care of you. Let's take it home to the accounts. When an account woman is getting married, she's told, say winya dia o de befi, winya car, o de ko kunu fie. When you get something in this cultural perspective means assets or children. Children is the key thing, but beyond that is assets. When you get it, you bring it home. It belongs to your siblings and your nephews and nieces. But if you go and the marriage becomes a car, liability, you send it to your husband's home. So this is the programming that a woman has received culturally. So once the woman is in that relationship and she's even making $1 million a month, or she will still have a certain idea of expectation that her husband must provide because her father provided and her grandfather provided.
So that suggests that culturally we do not believe that a woman can be economically independent.
We believe a woman can be
a relationship.
Yes, we believe because before Eurocentrism, it was the woman that had money because the man had two jobs. He would go to the farm in the morning and then in the evening he would go and hunt or fish. But when both of them came back in the evening from the farm, the woman would stay home and nurture the children, give them education, protect them, tell them stories, give them socializing, whilst the man has gone to his second job. So the roles were separated and they were clear. So the man is looking for food and protein, whilst the woman is also looking for some food. But at the end of the month, the amount of money that was left or the amount of food that was left will be taken to the monthly market for the woman to go and sell it. So it was the woman that actually held money. The man didn't have any need for money. And it was when Europeans came and wanted to buy human beings and get gold for free, they knew that women are too intelligent to sell their nephews and nieces to them, so they dealt with men. And so they brought the concept of intimidating women or putting women down, or they said they were not going to directly trade with women because what they wanted to buy, women will not sell it. So that was where this whole idea came from. But the man's primary responsibilities is to take care of the home, and the woman's primary responsibility is to take care of the children and also some economic activities.
That's an
That- so
interesting
we-
take on Ghanaian history.
Exactly.
But,
So we need to establish this as the backdrop for this conversation. But modernity and progressive society and social liberalism is saying something completely different, which is Eurocentric. And so this whole idea of I'm an independent woman, it's a Eurocentric concept, which of course is good and also bad sometimes.
there's something I want to hear you guys on. Okay, Esinam said it earlier. She said that an independent woman is a woman who can provide her basic needs, and I noted the word basic. So, if a woman lives in a chamber and hall in Accra, pays her own rent, takes trotro to work, pays for her own transport, eats her own lunch, nobody pays for her, takes her salary, manages it, probably is able to invest a little bit, and is taking care of her basic needs, that woman will be described as an independent woman. If a man is in the same circumstances, he may not be described as an independent man, because a little bit more will be expected of him. An independent man is expected to be able to look after not just himself, but others. Do you think that the bar for independent woman, through no fault of theirs, is lower than the bar for independent man?
Marv, you want to? Yes, yeah, because the question is directly to you. You want me to come in first?
Why are you trying to dodge?
The responsibilities that you put to the woman, the woman in that rented apartment who goes to work, who feeds herself, may also have a lot more responsibilities. She could also be taking care of her younger siblings. She could be taking care of her parents. So in terms of the external factors, in terms of your external responsibilities, a woman's responsibility may just be the same as a man's responsibility.
Mavi, there are a lot of mays and coulds in there.
Oh yes, because
but I think we
I
we
know
don't want
women.
we don't want to stray too far outside the question itself.
Yeah.
Okay. The
I'm
question
not
is
sure.
a woman who is living alone in a chamber and hall, transporting herself to and from work, feeding herself. If a man is in that same situation, would we describe him as independent?
No. So here's the thing: I have friends who are living like that, who are taking care of their siblings. So it's not like I'm going very far, and that's the only way I can attack this. I'm just saying that the situation could be the same as a man. I don't think the bar is lowered when it's a woman, or the bar is high in terms of that particular description you gave.
Lawyer, thank you.
Okay. First, and I agree that, you see, 175 years ago, when Stanton and Co met, like the four of us are here, tea time in New York, talking about the women's rights movement, some of the key issues they raised were that, of course, underpinning all of the things that they listed, she called it the Declaration of Sentiments, was that key word, independence. And it was not only independence from men, and keyly, they even listed married women in like 8 out of the main points. Say married women were seen as people who had to be properties of men, which was the case in the UK for a very long time. If a man is counting property, chattel or so is how they call it. It included children and also women that they actually possessed. And all of this classification, their business that day when they were drinking tea is to break it down and take the woman as an independent unit who can do all the things that society is suppressing them with for herself, be it in marriage or outside of it. Later on, it was reformed and the marriage element was taken out, and all of the other things made it look like key to the movement was independence from suppression of different kinds, prevention from voting, and all of the other things. Because if somebody has to think for you, the person will decide for you. You are not independent in thought and in mind too. But also important, running through most of the issues, was the issue of economic independence. So nobody would dismiss the fact that economic independence had been key to the women's rights movement right from the beginning. The difficulty is context and settings and how it imparts this level of economic independence. So here in the Republic of Ghana, and you said modern relationships, it matters a lot. What the expectations of a larger family of you in, let's say, a marriage or a relationship will be, does he provide for you? It could be that you, the woman, in fact, there was a time that we did a survey in this country that it was very close, female-headed families or households, very close to that of men. And it was shocking to many people. They thought it would be impossible to have that system happening. But that key word, which Mama V is trying to say, the expectation of society is that it is only independent women if you do massive things for yourself. Basic things are not really the greatest sign of independence. So no man can say, I'm merely independent because
I feed myself.
Yeah, I feed myself. Oh, what's the point? You do not want to tout it because there's a natural expectation that you'll be in that position in the first place. In fact, it is seen as a responsibility. If you do not attain that early enough, you still leave your parents. In fact, sometimes if you live on the same compound even with your parents, that's problematic. You might be living in a different housing unit, but still it's problematic. That expectation is not really the same for women. A father would want to think my daughter, until she gets married, should really be living with me. They don't have a problem with that. They don't insist on forcing her out. They don't really want to throw her out. What's the point? I mean, what has she done? Maybe when she's getting married, maybe we can actually.
Well, that's because you don't want her to be dependent on a man.
That's the point.
But
so,
if she was self-sufficient,
the thinking here is that, and the point he's asking is the bar for independence different for? Yes, no, it's true because the expectation is that the man is expected to be independent way before time.
Context. Take her out of her father's house and put her in that apartment, living the life that Kojo described.
Brilliant, and I'm saying that
could a woman have the same sort of external responsibilities?
It's very possible.
Yeah.
We are talking about, you see, but that's you see, when you generalize, we can pick out key elements here and neglect the negligibles here. What is key is that the expectation is that a man will be independent quickly, a woman's independent may be slow and may be coming, and sometimes even seen as an odd feature, even though that may be rarely a very important thing that's happening. The only difficulty is that there's a conflict that people don't really seem to find themselves being able to resolve. The expectations of society on this woman and what she really wants to do. So she wants to pay for herself. She wants to do some of these things. She wants to actually deliver that. But she's been conscientized to think that that man is irresponsible if he's not doing A, B, C, D, E. That conflict is what brings about the inability of Mama to answer the question.
Oh, that's unfair.
It's 9:05. I'll tell you what we're going to do right now, because we need to bring you all in on this conversation. Our guest Esinam, Okyeame, Kwame have already given us the fundamentals of their views. We're going to hear your views as well, and then we'll hear from them as we wrap this thing up. It's a learning experience for all of us, and we're already learning so much. Stay with us. When we come back, we open the phone lines on the Super Morning Show.
When the world looks at my child, they just see an energetic 8-year-old. But I see more. My Lucy is going to become captain of her school volleyball team, keep excelling in class, and do great things one day. I see a champion. So when I give her Milo with her breakfast every day, it's all part of waking up the champion in her.
Don't just wake up your child, wake up the champion in her. Let Milo with Active Go and the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa help wake up the champion in your child every day. Milo, energy to go further. Milo! This advert is FDA approved.
See, I love my house. I love my cars. Come on, let me take you to the kitchen. This is where you see I love everything about Samsung. Don't worry, it could be you, because it's the month of love. Samsung Love Office. Oh, it's actually cool. Go grab your Samsung AC fridges, television, soundbars starting at 2,999 Ghana cedis. Samsung Love Office. More ways to love with gifts that says it best. Starting from now all the way to Valentine to the end of February. Call 050-315-9739. It is the month of love. Play the game to get your Samsung freebies and vouchers.
Hey,
Bra Kofi, your ceiling be smooth, bright and fine, Papa.
That's an understatement. It dey blink like 80 carats white gold. This be Interface plasterboard ceilings. Smooth, bright, and long-lasting. Everybody where they come here, they fill up. Where they direct them go Interface Limited for world-class quality.
If you're involved in new property development, renovation, or decoration, the right place for you is Interface Limited. Call us on 0274 999999 or visit our website at
www.interfacelimited.net. Facebook Interface Limited GH. Instagram interface.limited.
1xBet. Easy betting, easy winnings. 1xBet, the most reliable service to make deposits easily with high odds and numerous bonuses on the spot. Register now at 1xBet.com.gh. Use promo code BESTODDSGH to get 300% bonus up to 3,445 Ghana cedis on your first deposit. Easy to use, easy to have a chance to win. 1xBet, reliable bookmaker. Gambling can be addictive. Bet responsibly. Not for person under 18 years. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission.
Adwa, Grandma looked very peaceful. I was completely amazed when I saw her neatly presented. She looked just like she was sleeping.
You haven't seen anything yet, my brother. You should have seen the care and quality treatment they gave her at transitions. One man, one room, oh, just like a 5-star hotel.
Wow.
And not only that, we had a dedicated person to guide the family through the funeral planning process.
Are you sure?
Of course. From picking her up to when we lowered Grandma down, everything was completely stress-free. They had all the needed funeral services, caskets, hearse, chapel, and so much more.
This one, dear, no family fights after all.
I'm so happy we made the right decision to use Transitions.
With Transitions, your loved one gets the best of care while the family enjoys a stress-free funeral planning process. Call us now on 0302 634 706. And no, did I tell you they're affordable? Transitions, the funeral people.
Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
So many interesting points already made in our conversation. And the question is very simple. In a modern relationship, should an independent woman expect her man to provide? And we're talking financial or economic independence here. And our guest is Esinam Batali, who is on the phone. We'll be hearing more from her in a bit. And Okyeame Kwame, who is in the studio, have already given us some very interesting insights. Mama B and Raymond have also chipped in on the debate, and it's your turn. It's time for us to hear from you. We'll open the phone lines in just a moment, and the question remains the same. Let's Talk Diabetes is a new book by Dr. Yakoba Atiase, and I keep touting Dr. Atiase, literally the best diabetes doctor I've ever encountered in Ghana. Bar none. I've learned so much from being her patient. And it's time for you to learn from her as well with her brand new book, Let's Talk Diabetes, which is a comprehensive and practical information booklet on managing diabetes effectively. Okay, so it's for everyone: patients, caregivers, healthcare workers. Even if you don't have diabetes, it's good to have this book in your bag for when you go for lunch with your diabetic friend, or you have a little dinner and you want to be sure that everybody is catered for. So listen, get your copy from Kolibu 24-hour Pharmacy, Accra Medical Center Pharmacy, Roof Specialist Center Pharmacy, Booknook, and on these phone numbers 055 111 9990 or 020 630 1447, and start your journey to better health. Let's Talk Diabetes. Grab your copy now.
And here's some good news if you're a small to medium scale business owner with SME Plus. You get to manage all your operational costs in communication. This service simply allows you to choose from affordable packages and enjoy talk time, SMS data, and business content, all bundled in one subscription. The other exciting news is you get free on-net calls every Monday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Simply dial star 5060 hash to sign up today. Star 5060 hash on MTN. You can WhatsApp or call 0244 308 111 for more information, and stay connected everywhere you go.
All right, so the question is simple. In a modern relationship, should an independent woman still expect her man to provide? And as soon as a man starts paying bills for an independent woman, does she then cease to be independent? Nana Kwesi is in Medina. Nana Kwesi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
My brother, I'd love to hear your views on this one.
So to the question, no. No. See, let me take myself for example. My partner is a very independent woman. And it doesn't mean that when help is needed, and I can, you see, the caveat here is, and I can, and I want to, when I do that for her, she doesn't lose her independence. See, when a child is given birth to, who do we see? Do we see a gender or a human being first? Yeah, we see a human being first before the gender. And every human being has basic needs that is provided for us by our parents. And when we grow, we are expected to be raised to be able to afford that basic need as a human being, not a gender. So why is one human being being raised to be able to afford that responsibility and one is not? That has been the problem. That is the programming we've been talking about. So not everything that is practiced that we are taught is right.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Interesting view there, Nana Kwesi. Thank you for sharing. Let's go to Osu. Here's Ni. Good morning, Ni.
Good morning, Kojo.
Where do you stand on this one?
It's so delicate. It's a delicate issue.
Ni, we're struggling to hear you. What did you say?
I say it's a delicate issue.
It's delicate, huh?
But if we want to handle this thing in a mature, I think we have to go back to the Bible. The way the Bible sees the whole thing. Yes, they say women should submit to their husband. So the same way, let's submit to your boyfriend. Let's put it that way. It's only when we handle it in that way that we, like, I think my own estimation will get answers. So me, in my own way, if a woman says to you and that is possible for her, you don't really put measures. You don't really put measurements on it. Yes, either way, I would think that their own shoes too. If you are that caring for them, if you handle so many things in their life, like they wouldn't really mind like doing certain things to help their house. So,
Ni, you mentioned that the Bible says a woman should submit to her husband. Do you feel that that means the Bible speaks against a woman being independent? I think we've lost Ni. Oh, okay. That's a pity. Let's go to Tema. Here's Wilfred. Hi, Wilfred. Good morning.
Good morning. I want to contribute to the program.
Yes, please go ahead, Wilfred.
I think basically you are missing the point in an independent person and a person being dependent on. The independent person, as you've rightly explained, is somebody who can provide for himself or herself. And then that individual can become dependent on, that is immaterial to the individual, to the person being independent. So it's two different things altogether.
Wilfred, the opposite of independent is dependent.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
So if I can provide for myself, or a lady can take care of herself without depending on another person, that person is independent. Now, if somebody else becomes dependent on that person, it's immaterial. I'm mentioning this because you mentioned about a lady taking care of the external family and the rest, a man taking care of the external family and the rest. That is immaterial to the conversation. So the conversation now is if a lady is able to take care of herself, she doesn't need a man to provide for her. But if a man tries to provide for her, that is fine.
Okay,
that
Wilfred.
Is my little contribution.
Thank you very much, Wilfred. Let's go to Kolebu. Here's Emma. Hi, Emma. Good morning.
Ima.
Oh, it's Ima. Forgive me,
Yes.
Ima. My mistake. Good morning
All
to
right.
you.
Good morning, Kubo. My submission to this subject is that it's not a big deal if a woman is independent and then he tries to set you out. But the problem with us Africans is that, as Okyeame, Kwame was saying, that it is embedded in the women's mind that a man can take absolute responsibility of the running of the home. So it makes it something else if a woman is self-sufficient and she supports the house. So my solution to this point is, please, in other parts of the world, they do court sharing. If even you invite you send your family to the restaurant and there's a bill, you share and pay. Or sometimes, well, if you want to settle the bill, it's okay. But then it's only in this part of the world that if a woman is self-sufficient and wants to support you, it becomes a problem. But then, for me, it's not really a big deal. So, that's it.
Okay, Ima, thank you. Let's go to East Legon. Hi, Kofi. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your position?
Oh, no. I love people who are human, who are independent, who understand that their upkeep is their responsibility. I love people like that. And when we come together, because I'm an individual, I'm responsible for myself, just like you. But when we come together, we take care of each other. And that do not make any of us lose our independence. Maybe I'll say we codepend on each other. Yes, so maybe I'll take out the independence and replace with codependent. It's about what works for us, It's about what works for us. It's not about entitlement. It's supposed to be this way. You are the one supposed to do this. You are the one supposed to do that. Now, back one trainer, even though the person can. So, I'll say no to it.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Let's go to Lekma. Emmanuel, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How about you?
Not bad, bro.
Yeah. So, this whole thing about an independent woman. In fact, I'm a serious feminist, and I always, push for women, their rights, and then their independence. So I'll be so happy to push that agenda. But in this instance, if, for instance, my woman takes like 50K every month, and then I make 10K every month, and our needs, the basic needs in the house, can be taken care of by that my 10K, and I'll still have something left in my pocket, I will do it because I am mandated to do it. But if she is demanding for things that are not, for lack of better expression, prescribed in the relationship, i.e., you need to get me a car, even though I can buy my own car. I'm talking about from the point of the woman. She can buy her own car. She says, because you are the man, buy me a car. That, for me, is not to say that I must provide for you, even though you are independent. But if there are issues like fee payments, taking care of the home, paying the bills in the house, and I can pay comfortably with that my little money, my little income, and still have something in my pocket. Once I'm not in competition with you, I think it should not be a problem at all. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you, Emmanuel. All right. We've got a few messages coming through as well, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. So this one on Twitter says, this is Joshua. Joshua says marriage is a partnership, so it will be nice if both partners bring something to the table. Amadou Osmanu says, once there's the issue of independence, why should the man be the solo provider? Shared responsibility is not a bad idea. In a traditional setting, the man is the sole provider and the woman helps as and when there is the need to. Nana Kwame Opoku says, if the man's income isn't enough, then the woman can support in can support him in a way, but if the man's income is enough, the woman's responsibility is clearly defined in a marriage. I want to quickly just do some messages on WhatsApp. This one says the independence of a woman is meaningless unless it is linked to the cash outflow of a man. And this is Marcus says so. This one says, Kojo, the Ghanaian independent woman is like the slogan, Ghana beyond aid. When we are still begging IMF to assist us, is from Gameli. This one says, in typical relationship, there is no such thing as independence. What pertains in reality is interdependence. I pay your bills, I pay yours. Nanaya in Accra. Okay, so I pay my bills, I pay yours.
That's
all right.
not interdependence.
Ah.
Full dependence. Okay, all right. I want to give Esinam the final word. So I'll come to... actually, no. I want to give Kwame the final word because he's got a bit of information to share with us. So I'll start with Esinam.
Okay. I think that the most important thing to think through here is being independent with a state of mind and deciding that, okay, this is what you want to do as a woman being independent. Sometimes may not be easy because we are in a society where most of us are poor, and most of us have grown up in impoverished situations, and with women deciding to break free from those shackles and finding their own independence, we run the risk of going into hyper independence, which is most likely a trauma response. It's possible for somebody to say, oh, I don't depend on anybody for anything and I do everything by myself. And that could be as a result of trauma, as a result of not knowing who to depend on to get most of their things done. So while they were growing up, the family system that was supposed to support this person, to help them to be the best version of themselves, left them on their own. So the kind of love and support needed to be able to exist and thrive and do something good for yourself was taken away from them, maybe due to circumstances, they lost parents and stuff like that. And certain childhood traumas also coming in. It ends up creating a woman who is seeing herself as independent, but is possibly hyper independent, where they've learned that, okay, I'm on my own, there's nobody to take care of me, there's nobody to support me, there's nobody to help me, and they end up doing things as a result of that hyper independence. Someone like that is unlikely to trust their partner to be able to take care of them or to be able to be a good support system for them, and this could lead to problems later on. So in all your thinking, in all your independence, learn the relevance of having a good social relationship, a healthy social relationship with people, learn to trust, learn the essence of vulnerability, and learn the essence of even being free, being happy while being independent.
Wow. Thanks for that, Esinam. Okay.
Yes. So, I am not an independent man, and I don't think my wife is. I think our relationship is based on interdependency. Just as you introduced me, the most important thing to me is that I'm a dad. But I leave home at 6 and I'm not back until 10. And two things that I'm supposed to do to make sure that I survive this fatherhood thing is that I get my wife to do all the things I'm supposed to do when I'm out there looking for money. So if I load my financial contribution in the home on my wife, I'm being unreasonable. In the same way, if she loads her opportunity to touch the kids and help nurture them to grow with respect and love so that they don't have trauma, she's also not being responsible. So this whole thing is based on interdependency or codependence. So I don't think that in a marriage setting, the idea of financial independence is it's too key. It's got to do with understanding what your skill sets are and where the competencies are. So if the woman has the power or has the understanding to rather be the one to go out there to make the money whilst the man's become a stay-home dad, I think that is also fine. So even though all of us are social and culturally programmed to think that the man is supposed to do this and the woman is supposed to, I think we need to get to a point where we look at that situation again based on competencies. So that's what I think.
That's interesting. I think two important points. I mean, first of all, we've made it clear that once you enter a marriage, independence ends for both men and women. I think that's a very important learning point. The second one is that if we are really ready for this modern society, then everybody has to rethink their role here. Women have to rethink what it means to be ready for marriage. Okay? The same requirements that are made of a man for him to be ready for a marriage should be made of a woman as well. You can't just finish university and get married. You must also be financially ready for marriage, because once you get into a marriage, there's an interdependence, isn't there? Yes, it'll be very interesting to see how that works. Esinam said, we are living in a time of poverty, so you can't expect a man to come and pay your bills. He's also poor, right? Okay, thank you both so much. Okyeame, before you go, I know this weekend you've got something happening, right?
Yes.
You've got about 30 seconds to learn about it.
So please meet myself. So, last year I wrote a book, Love Lockdown.
Yeah.
And now it's become an event. So the maiden edition of the Love Lockdown event is happening at Plus 233 with music, dance, conversations like these, and, interesting stuff. So tomorrow at 9 p.m. at Plus 233, come and be a part of this experience, and come and buy my book too. So see you at Plus 233 tomorrow.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us and making our show special.